Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we have yet again another late night episode. Seems to be a consistent theme this time. I will say that I recorded the last episode of Animal World today, which is kind of exciting. It's a good game. I'm not going to talk about it today because I think I need to sort of digest. It needs to sort of sink in a little bit more, and also I'm not sure what to say. But yeah, there will be a new series following on from Animal starting next week, which means I have to do the thumbnail art this weekend, because as much as I would like to continue on and not have to do thumbnail art, there is basically nothing else left to do in Animal World, so... But good evening everyone, I'm here with a late night broadcast. Hope we can make it through this. Right now in Fawnhallow it's 12:18am on what should be Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. But that should be okay, because I am not doing anything this weekend. Finally. Not finally, like in that sense, but like... It's more like it's not a busy weekend, so I will have time to actually do it. And I have specifically chosen the next series to have a very simple thumbnail art. I've actually got two options for very simple thumbnail arts. I'm not sure which one's a better option. I think the one I'm thinking of right now, which you don't know obviously, is a better option. Because it's also a bit of a shorter game as well. I don't want to immediately go into another like super long game. But yeah, that's basically what's happening with Animal Well. What else can we sort of talk about? Umemusme, the Kitan Black banner, is coming tomorrow. Am I secretly hoping I can max limit break the guard? Yes. Am I going to? Most likely not, unless I win that 2% chance or whatever. But I hope I can at least get up to like limit break 2 or something. That'd be good. Limit break 3 is meant to be ideal, but I don't think I have enough premium currency for that, carrots for that. But I don't know, I could genuinely just get lucky. Yeah, what else to talk about? Zenless Zone 0, the new patch, is coming out today, I suppose. I don't know if I have enough storage space on my phone to actually download it. It's a thing I'm increasingly finding now, is that I've now kind of, or am running out of storage space on my phone. So it's like, maybe I should have got that Pixel in that time when I was like, you know, time to get the Pixel. But, oh well. Not that big a deal, I don't think. Plus I can just literally uninstall one of the games which I don't play anymore. I don't know which one I would uninstall. At the moment, I had to look at my storage. See, storage management, I have 5 gigabytes free. 186 of them are taken up by games, which is genuinely hilarious, I think. I think probably what would make more sense to do would be to go and do like Genshin and Honkai Star Rail and just clear out any excess data. They are doing things where I think they're compressing stuff down to make it easier, but yeah. What should I talk about today? Whatchamacallit? The Game Changer episode for yesterday was pretty good, honestly. I liked it a lot. I think it was a fun one. I don't think it's my favourite, I would say, of the entire season, but I did like it. Yeah, it has a very sort of silly vibe to it. I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you haven't watched it yet, but I mean, if you go on their social medias, you can probably figure out what's going on pretty quickly. But what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. What's a good topic? Roblox CEO continues pitch of a Roblox as a dating site? Your target audience is like 12, isn't it? Okay. Sectioning off adults. Why would you use Roblox as a dating site? That is... I'm shaking my head right now, so you know I disagree. But what? Anyway, that wasn't really what I was planning to talk about, to be honest. I'm just trying to think of a good conversation to talk about. I'm sort of looking around, seeing if there's something to inspire me. I think we had to reach out for a very random conversation topic now. Time to turn to old stories of random things here and there that I can randomly think about. You know what? It's like that. This is a bit of a niche thing to talk about, but I used to go like on a forum. Doesn't really matter. It was an Animal Crossing forum. Have I been on it since? Nope. I've not. I think it's still around. But anyway, the long short is that forum had like games, I suppose, as well. Which it was sort of like like it had its own currency, is what I'd say, but like it also had games. Such that like I'm trying to think how to even put it. But they had their own like currency on it, and I don't remember what you use a currency for. You had like an ATM as well. I think you could like collect interest. And when you did so, it like, sorry, I'm completely losing my train of thought. So it had its own currency. You played games on it, and the games you played gave you currency. So it was sort of like well, any sort of like online mini game sort of collection thing, Club Penguin, etc., etc. Why did it have this on a forum? I could not tell you. I don't know what you would exchange it for, but I mean, I think I remember someone made like signatures, like forum signatures on me. But anyway, there's this one game on there which I remember absolutely adoring playing, where you played essentially as a Silver Surfer, from what I recall, and you are surfing through a tunnel, and you had to sort of like jump over things and duck under blocks a long way, or barriers a long way. And that game, I don't know what it's called, but I remember I used to spend so much time playing that and like trying to beat other people's high scores in it. Like I held the high score for a bit, and then someone else defeated it, and then I would defeat it, and then someone else would defeat it, and it was a very fun time, I think, going back and forth, kind of like that. But then someone absolutely demolished it at one point, and then I lost all motivation, because I was just like, that's just so far out of reach for me to beat. So I don't really know where I'm going with the story, but like there's a certain charm in those like high score leaderboards, I think, from these old sort of like arcade style games or whatever from way back in the day. This is like, well, I guess it was like 15 years ago now I think about it. I think the one I always think about is like back in Neopets, if anything. That's kind of like a classic thing. Like all their mini games has like a high score leaderboard, of which you can use to participate, and if you get high enough you get a trophy. When I was younger I was never good enough at the Neopets games to actually do anything regarding that, apart from the Grand Theft Imagine game, which has basically a fixed cap if you follow the guide exactly of a score, but I never actually got the trophies for. But as I got older, I did end up liking some of the games. Some of the games I actually liked enough to actually play them to get a high score. The only one I can think of off the top of my head, I think, is Nova Defender. Well, Nova Defender is actually my favourite game on there. And it was genuinely a lot of fun to be able to try and get that thing. Nova Defender is basically like a sort of bullet hell sort of game. Now I've got so much Rabbit and Steel experience, I bet playing it now would be significantly easier. I cannot wait for Rabbit and Steel, the new patch to come out, so we can actually play the Grenadier and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, high score leaderboards and that sort of thing. I mean, they originate, I assume, from arcades back in the day, right? Some very clever person was like, why don't we just keep track of whoever's got the highest score to encourage people to play more? on like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, etc., etc., I would say that it's not something which I have much experience with, I suppose, in the sense that arcades, I think, I sort of predate me a little bit. Like, the only arcades I really experienced were arcades like other beachside to get tickets, to get very cheap merchandise and souvenirs and whatnot. Nothing particularly exciting, but most of the things I think I played didn't really have a high score thing. I think there was a game called like Spider Stomp in the arcade, which I used to really like and try and get a high score on, but I was also like a 4-year-old kid, so I was also like terrible at it. But now, you know, thinking about how high scores sort of grow, it's kind of like weirdly strange to think about in a way. What I mean by that is the fact that, like, I mean, now I play a lot of rhythm games, and all the rhythm games have like high scores, etc., which you can try and achieve on them. Like, all these catch games have something in one way or another of not necessarily like direct competition, but more like indirect competition, where you can play against each other. Except for a lot of them are catch games, and you know, this ladder you're trying to climb, if you're legit trying to climb it, you essentially have to spend money, and a lot of money, and then once you spend enough money, you actually also have to be pretty darn good at the game as well, and also you spend a lot of time to actually get all the artifacts and stuff for it, which for the majority of people is not exactly what you want. But it's fascinating seeing these sort of arcade high score style things, because one of them is for Genshin Impact. Basically, it's like a super whale speedrun competition, essentially, of like they have a thing every single time where basically it's like, how can they clear the endgame mode the fastest, and literally it's like down to seconds their competition of the Abyss, and it's super optimized, and it's really fun to watch in the sense because it's so different to like what the other to what you would usually play, or how you would usually play the regular Abyss. What used to be like optimal strategies are not at all optimal anymore when it comes to trying to run the Abyss speedrun, you know? I don't know if it's still maintained anymore, if people still do them. But it was things like, oh, you play like a burst Hutao with Ayaka melting to maintain it or something. But it is really like quite amusingly funny. And then like Genshin, they released a new update with the Vestigian Assault, whatever it's called, to have like a new leaderboard, and it was like a crazy DPS check, but the hardest difficulty that is so high that neither me nor any of my friends could actually clear the hardest difficulty. I could clear 2 out of 3 bosses, but I couldn't clear the last one, and same with my other friend. Amusingly different bosses, but I mean, I couldn't clear it because my Malvika was straight up not strong enough. But yeah, it really is interesting, because I mean, high scores, I suppose, at the end of the day is meant to inspire competition, but I think it's actually quite a nice way to inspire competition, because it's not like such a direct way. Like, you have direct competition, like a PvP game, like a Valorant match. You go in and you have to fight the enemy, but having the indirect one is more like, I think that's probably more aligned with my sense of competition, because I get sometimes that people think I'm a competitive person, and then my response is often, I don't see myself as a competitive person, because I don't care if I win or lose. I just care that I did the best, and I'm competitive in the sense I'm against myself, like pretty competitive against myself, but I don't care. I literally don't care what other people have gotten, essentially. Or perhaps a better way to put it is, I don't care if that is better or worse than someone else. I care in the sense that, like, I want, if someone else is better, then like, it sort of gives motivation to be like, oh yeah, maybe I can do that as well, or maybe I can try in that way. And, you know, I think me talking out loud about this is, I'm not competitive in the direct competitive sense, like doing a 1v1 in League of Legends or Valorant in a deathmatch or things like that. That doesn't excite me in that sense. But competing to attain a high score, something like some sort of mastery or skill, that does interest me in a weird way. because it always seems strange to say that I'm not competitive, but I am. But then it's like, I'm not competitive, but I'm also, I try to be a perfectionist and I try to attain the highest thing, because I'm like, that has a lot of hallmarks of lining up with competitiveness. But then, like, what you imagine with competitiveness is you imagine, like, you doing a direct competition against someone else, and then, you know, you doing your best absolutely to win, and which I guess I would do, but it's not for the sake of winning, it's more for the sake of attainment, right? Which I think is a difficult thing to express until you actually think about it out loud. There's this sort of distinction here between direct competition and indirect competition. I guess I'm not directly competitive, but I'm indirectly competitive. But I mean, even saying it like that feels wrong, because it's like, I don't really care too much about having, if we're using a high score analogy, a high score of every single person. Like, I mean, out of curiosity's sake, like, it's cool to know, like, what my friends or what some other people I know have done, or like what the top contenders are doing. But what I care about is having a high score leaderboard consisting only of my records, so I can try and beat my own high score record. So this is, it's like first person competitive, second person competitiveness, and third person competitiveness, which are not actual terms and are not things. But I don't know, it's just kind of like an interesting thing to think about. I think that's probably why I like the concept of a high score leaderboard so much more than I do necessarily actual direct competition. Not that I dislike direct competition, this is more like it does not motivate me, I think, the same way that it motivates a lot of other people. And I don't have a distaste for it the same way that other people might have a distaste for it. I land squarely in between of indifference. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's necessarily a healthy thing to have an indirect competition with myself the entire time. So maybe perhaps it's okay that it's something which just sort of I passively would think about more so than anything else. But yeah, I don't know. Is this like actual terms? Like, hold on. Direct competition versus indirect competition. Oh, it's business strategy. Okay. Well, that's not really what I meant. Anyway, I think I'll round this episode off here. Well, I think that was an interesting exploration of myself. I think that is probably at least more accurate than saying, oh, I'm competitive, but only competitive against myself or something. Direct competition is uninteresting. Indirect competition against myself? I don't know. Perhaps I need to ponder on that a bit more. Anyway, at least having this distinction of the different types is interesting, I think. So, I'm going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope you see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Oh, bye-bye for now.